In a closed-door meeting this week with Judge Aileen Cannon, Donald Trump and his lawyers outlined their legal strategy for their defense in the documents case. And this defense is just about as dumb as it gets. You see, according to what is being reported, Donald Trump's lawyers went in front of Judge Cannon and they said, "Hey, Judge, here's what we're going to say in court. We're going to argue that those documents, right, the ones that this guy has, totally didn't matter, right? Like, there was nothing important in any of those documents. Most of the stuff was outdated. So, it's really not even that big of a deal, and certainly doesn't fall under the purview of the Espionage Act, which he's being charged with. So, you get rid of all that because those documents were basically worthless." Here is what's being reported. Trump's attorneys presented their defense theory, which holds that classified documents he was charged with illegally retaining were not actually, quote, national defense information or, quote, closely held by the time he left office as defined in the Espionage Act, and they asked Cannon to limit the redactions or substitutions to those documents sought by the prosecutors. Quote, "For instance, the Bedminster document, understood to be a military map of Afghanistan, would have been out of date by the time he was waving it around in summer of 2021. Trump legal wants a document like that unredacted, so they can argue that it was all old intelligence." Old intelligence. Now, just because a document is old intelligence, right? Maybe things have changed in that country to where what's on that map is no longer on that map. But that doesn't mean that the information contained on that map is not still useful and could be useful to our allies or our enemies. So this is a very, very dumb legal argument. And the funny thing is, it only covers about, I'd say, a fraction of the charges against him. Because it's not just that the documents contained sensitive information. That is part of it, but it's a smaller part of it. I mean, the biggest thing is that he stole the documents to begin with. It doesn't matter if they're old and outdated. It doesn't matter if the information contained in them is no longer relevant or they feel it's no longer relevant. The fact that he had them at all is in and of itself a crime. And y'all are sitting there telling the judge like, "Oh, I mean, he totally did it. Yeah, he had it, and he did, in fact, wave it around during that meeting." We've all heard the audio where you can hear the paper doing that. And they're like, "Yeah, but nobody cared about that stuff. It was probably old. So redact that," they said, or unredact that so everybody can see, like, we want more people to see the stuff that he had taken from the White House. Now, this actually sets up a perfect trap for Judge Cannon, by the way, because Jack Smith, he has his private meeting as well. It's not just Cannon meeting with Trump's lawyers, although that wouldn't surprise me at this point. So Smith gets to go in there and he gets to make his requests for redactions and make his arguments for things that should not be redacted. And if Cannon allows fewer redactions or unredactions than Jack Smith requests, it is at that point, according to legal experts, that he can then take his case to the appellate court to try to get Cannon kicked off the case. So by Trump's team going in and saying, "Yeah, redact this, redact this, redact this, unredact that," that gives Smith the opportunity to counter that. Whatever Cannon rules, he can then take it to the higher court and argue that she is trying to basically help them out and screw over the prosecution. So Trump's lawyers, even as stupid as their arguments were, according to the legal experts, lay a perfect trap that Judge Cannon has now walked right into.